Have you ever come home from a workout after turning 60? Maybe you walked farther than usual, followed an exercise video you found online, or tried to keep up with a local senior aerobics class, and found yourself far more fatigued or achy than you recall being in your 40s or 50s. It's a subtle shift that often goes unnoticed, until one day you're wincing at the idea of climbing stairs the day after pushing yourself. Many older adults diligently stick to intense routines because for decades, we've been taught that exercise is universally beneficial no matter your age. But what if you could actually overdo it after 60, draining your body and risking injury? Some geriatric experts are sounding a cautionary note. As you age, you might need to stop exercising so much, or at least in the same way, and focus instead on 4 key practices that can keep you strong, limber, and energized, without the hidden toll of 2 intense workouts. None of this means you should toss out physical movement entirely. Rather, it's about recognizing that your body, well into your later decades, responds differently to stress and needs time and gentler methods to heal and stay robust. If you're noticing more stiffness, prolonged soreness, or even bouts of mild dizziness after certain exercises, your body may be telling you it's time to recalibrate. Overtraining or continuing the same intense activities you did 20 or 30 years ago could deplete vital resources, impair immune function, or aggravate your joints. And ironically, the push to stay extremely active might backfire, leading to a sense of constant exhaustion or discouragement. The idea here isn't to be passive, but to be wise. Instead of hammering away at long, high-impact routines, shift to something more strategic. By the end of this conversation, you'll understand 4 important areas to emphasize in place of strenuous workouts, each of which can help you remain fit, agile, and more relaxed as you navigate your 60s, 70s, and beyond. The first thing to focus on instead of rigorous, sweat-drenched exercise marathons is practicing short bursts of targeted movement throughout the day rather than an intense hour or 2. You might call it distributed activity. Many seniors cling to the idea that you must allocate a dedicated block, like a 90-minute spin class or a tough circuit routine, to maintain health. But research increasingly suggests that spreading light, consistent movement across your waking hours can be just as beneficial and often easier on aging bones and muscles. Think about it. If you spend 30 minutes forcing your body through a high-effort routine, then remain mostly sedentary for the rest of the day, your overall circulatory system might suffer from prolonged inactivity. On the other hand, if you do small bursts of gentle movement, like 5 minutes of standing up and stretching every hour, or taking a quick walk around the block in mid-morning and again in late afternoon, you keep circulation active, reduce stiffness, and avoid the stress of a punishing single session. For example, you could start your day with a 5-minute gentle stretch routine to limber your back and shoulders. Then, an hour or 2 later, instead of continuing to sit or remain static, do a few squats holding onto the kitchen counter. By midday, you might stroll outside for 10 minutes at a pace that elevates your heart rate but doesn't leave you gasping. In the late afternoon, try another short spurt of movement, maybe standing calf raises while talking on the phone. Across a day, these micro sessions might add up to 30 or 40 minutes of total activity, but they're spread out in a way that respects your body's capacity for recovery. You never push so far that you're left panting or nursing an aching knee for days. Instead, you keep your muscles gently engaged, your joints lubricated, and your metabolism activated. Seniors who adopt this approach often notice fewer injuries, less overall fatigue, and a more consistent level of energy. Rather than an intense spike of activity that leaves them drained, they distribute mild to moderate movement that keeps them feeling alert, stable, and comfortable. The second key area to replace overly harsh exercise routines with is a deeper focus on flexibility and joint care. In your younger years, you might have hammered through running or high-impact classes, counting on your resilient joints to handle the pounding. But after 60, cartilage thins and connective tissues can stiffen, which means ignoring flexibility can lead to painful limitations. Or worse, an injury that sets you back for months. Instead of devoting your precious exercise time primarily to burning maximum calories or achieving personal speed records, allocate that energy to gentle stretching, mobility drills, and low-intensity yoga or Tai Chi. These techniques not only help preserve your range of motion, but also reduce inflammation around the joints. When you have flexible hips, knees, and shoulders, everyday tasks like bending to pick up something, reaching overhead to retrieve a dish, or stepping into a car become less of a strain. Many seniors who over-exercise in one dimension, like repetitive running, may neglect the balanced approach that includes thorough stretching. Over time, they might find their hamstrings extremely tight, their shoulders perpetually sore, or their spine less capable of twisting smoothly. By contrast, moderate activities like gentle yoga or extended stretching sessions can soothe the connective tissues and foster better alignment. If you're hesitant about yoga because it sounds intimidating, consider chair yoga or specialized senior classes. Often these classes adapt poses so you can practice them without risking falls or overextension. If classes aren't your style, you can do a simple 10-minute stretching sequence at home each morning, focusing on your calves, quads, lower back, shoulders, and neck. The idea is to slow down, breathe, and let your muscles release tension. This approach might not give you the sweaty rush of a high-intensity workout, but it yields long-lasting benefits for everyday movement. Over time, you may even see that your posture improves and your joint pain diminishes, making life more pleasant and preserving independence. Another critical area, investing in muscle strength the right way rather than chasing high-intensity routines that might risk strain. After 60, we naturally lose muscle mass, something called sarcopenia. Many older adults respond by diving into heavy weightlifting or intense resistance workouts, thinking they can out-muscle the aging process. But if you're new to strength training or your joints are less tolerant than they once were, high-intensity lifts can cause tears, sprains, or prolonged soreness that sabotage your overall health. A more balanced approach is to focus on moderate resistance exercises, using light dumbbells, resistance bands, or even bodyweight movements like partial squats or seated leg extensions. For instance, rather than doing a heavy barbell squat for multiple reps, you could do 15 slow chair squats, standing up from a chair and sitting back down with control, until you feel your legs working but not burning out. Add a day of gentle upper body work with small free weights or resistance bands, aiming for 8 to 12 reps per exercise, focusing on correct form over heavy loads. You might also practice simple isometric holds such as holding a wall sit or a light plank on your knees to reinforce muscle endurance. The goal is to build and maintain functional strength that helps with day-to-day tasks, like carrying groceries or climbing stairs, rather than aiming for bodybuilder-level achievements. By training in moderate ranges, you minimize the risk of injury that can set you back. If you're consistent, you'll still see muscle tone improvements and greater stability, and crucially, you'll feel more energetic for daily life rather than exhausted or in pain from overdoing it. This approach fosters a sense of empowerment without the looming worry of straining something vital. Finally, and this might surprise you, sleep and rest become a top priority for seniors, more so than chasing frequent or arduous workouts. The cultural message often says, if you're not hitting the gym daily, you're letting yourself go, but older bodies repair themselves during downtime, not during the exercise itself. Without adequate rest, your muscles struggle to recover, your hormones might go out of balance, and you can face a heightened risk of chronic inflammation that leads to degenerative conditions. If you're in your 60s or beyond, the idea of earning rest after an intense workout can ironically sabotage the very rest you need. Many older adults push themselves in a strenuous session, then find they can't sleep well due to aches or an overstimulated nervous system. Instead, imagine giving rest the same priority you once gave your workouts. Mindfully scheduling consistent bedtime hours, optimizing your bedroom environment for quiet and darkness, and even incorporating short midday naps if that suits your body's rhythms. Proper rest doesn't mean inactivity all day. It means ensuring your nightly sleep extends a solid 7 or 8 hours if possible, and that you truly wind down in the evenings with gentle routines like reading, listening to calm music, or practicing breath work. Some seniors overlook the fact that the no pain, no gain mentality from youth doesn't blend well with an aging system that craves more frequent renewal. Good rest amplifies the benefits of the smaller exercise sessions you do, giving your cells the chance to rebuild muscle fibers, support immune function, and even maintain sharper cognitive health. In short, prioritizing rest is not lazy or indulgent. It's the bedrock that supports stable energy levels, emotional balance, and a body that can sustain moderate exercise without collapsing under stress. Put these 4 shifts together: distributed daily movement instead of intense single sessions, deeper focus on flexibility and joint care, moderate strength work rather than pushing heavy loads, and prioritizing restful sleep, and you have a powerful alternative to the "just keep exercising vigorously" advice that can mislead many older adults. While everyone's body is different, a more measured approach helps you avoid cycles of overexertion and injury. You might realize that, ironically, you achieve better overall fitness with this method because you're rarely sidelined by strain or fatigue. Your everyday life becomes the workout, moving lightly but often, stretching thoroughly, lifting moderately, and sleeping well. This cultivates a stable level of well-being that stands the test of time. Some seniors worry that reducing their standard workouts or skipping classes they used to attend might accelerate decline. But consider this: if your old routines are leaving you so worn out that the rest of your day is spent recovering, your quality of life may be lower. Also, intense exercise can sometimes raise cortisol levels in older adults, which in turn hampers immune function and may lead to chronic stress on the body. By adopting shorter, gentler, and more frequent movement sessions, you keep your metabolism and circulation humming without triggering the stress response that large spikes of intense activity can cause. Meanwhile, focusing on flexibility ensures you stay limber, and gentle strength training keeps muscles from wasting away. Sleep completes the cycle by letting your system recover fully. In this scenario, you're not doing nothing. You're shifting to a regimen that matches your body's new reality. There's also a social angle to these changes. If your previous exercise routine was heavily gym-based or involved group classes that are now too intense, you can pivot to classes that emphasize balance, posture, or range of motion specifically tailored for older adults. Tai Chi, water aerobics, or senior-friendly yoga are prime examples. These help you maintain social connections, a critical factor in mental and emotional health, while also safeguarding your body from overexertion. You might discover a new community of people in your age group who share the same focus, staying active but in a gentler way. Such connections can reduce feelings of isolation, providing a supportive network as you adapt your lifestyle. But how do you start implementing these 4 changes if you're used to something else entirely? First, review your current routine. If you're doing hour-long runs or high-intensity classes multiple times a week, consider dialing them back. Instead, pepper your day with 5 to 10-minute walk breaks or gentle exercises. Add a dedicated 15 minutes each morning or evening for thorough stretching, particularly for your hips, lower back, shoulders, and neck. Slip in a simple resistance band session or bodyweight routine a couple of times a week, focusing on stable, controlled movements. And be sure to fine-tune your bedtime schedule, aiming for a consistent time and a quiet wind-down ritual. If you track your progress in a journal, note how your body feels each morning. Are you more or less sore, more or less energetic? This mindful approach helps you gauge whether the new routine is working or needs small tweaks. Sometimes the biggest hurdle is psychological. You might feel guilty thinking, "I'm just being lazy by not pushing myself as hard as I used to." Keep in mind that aging bodies are not lazy for needing gentler methods. They're responding to natural changes in metabolism, joint resilience, and recovery capacity. Embrace the reality that working smarter, not harder, is the better strategy now. If your self-imposure is wrapped up in being the fittest senior around, reframe your definition of fitness. Perhaps the new hallmark of fitness is being able to move freely all day long, remain relatively pain-free, and sleep deeply at night. Being in shape can mean enjoying life with fewer limitations, not necessarily crushing it on the treadmill for an hour. Another potential obstacle is the fear of losing muscle or cardio capacity if you scale back. But moderate, consistent daily motion plus a measured approach to strength training typically preserves muscle mass effectively. As for cardio, short, frequent walks or even mild intervals like walking a bit faster for 30 seconds then slowing down can keep your heart strong without the stress of extended high-intensity sessions. If you want to check your progress, you can monitor your resting heart rate or see if you handle everyday tasks like climbing a few stairs or carrying groceries more or less easily. That's often a more relevant measure of functional fitness for older adults than running a 5K or lifting a big number at the gym. It's also worth noting that adopting this approach can reduce injury risks significantly. When older adults push too hard, too often, the risk of tendinitis, stress fractures, or even sudden cardiovascular events rises. By dialing into gentler, well-rounded practices, you spread your physical strain more evenly and allow for thorough healing. In the event that you do pick up a minor strain, the lighter routine means you probably won't have to press pause on all movement. Instead, you can adapt the day's plan to do fewer or softer moves, letting the strain recover while still keeping circulation going. Over time, this fosters continuity, another key to success. Rather than a cycle of intense exercise followed by forced rest due to injury, you maintain a steady baseline of daily activity that keeps you feeling capable and motivated. Finally, the emphasis on rest in this strategy can't be overstated. For older adults, consistent high-quality sleep or restful periods of relaxation, like a short mid-afternoon nap, can dramatically sharpen cognitive function, stabilize mood, and reinforce immunity. If you previously worked out so hard in the evening that you struggled to fall asleep, switching to short morning or midday sessions might restore a healthier sleep-wake cycle. Also consider small steps to improve your sleep environment, like turning down the thermostat, reducing screen time at night, or using earplugs if ambient noise is an issue. Prioritizing rest fortifies the quiet repairs your body does each night, from muscle protein synthesis to hormone regulation. That's how you truly integrate whatever modest exercise you did earlier in the day. When you step back, it's clear that stop exercising so much after 60 isn't an anti-exercise statement. It's a reminder that at this age, you should shift from a high-intensity, often punishing approach to one that's gentle, strategic, and mindful of your new physiology. Instead of forcing yourself through extreme routines, you adopt short bursts of activity scattered throughout the day. Cultivate flexibility to keep joints healthy, do moderate resistance exercises for muscle maintenance, and guard your sleep. The cumulative effect is that you end up feeling better, hurting less, and sustaining your abilities for the long haul. Many seniors who adopt this method say they didn't realize how much their old regimen was draining them until they made the switch and felt significantly more energetic. In the end, it's about quality of life. If you can reduce the lumps and bruises, both literal and metaphorical, associated with overzealous fitness, you'll have more resources to enjoy your grandkids, volunteer in the community, travel if you wish, and generally savor the moment. For most older adults, those experiences matter more than bragging rights about how many push-ups they can do. So the next time you catch yourself thinking, I need to exercise harder to stay young, pause and ask, is this truly serving my body at 60, 70, or 80? If the answer is a reluctant no, try pivoting to these 4 principles. Over a few weeks or months, gauge the difference. If you find yourself with steadier energy, fewer pains, and better sleep, it's a sign that you've discovered a new template for healthy aging. That's what a successful fitness journey should look like. One that respects where you are now, not where you were 30 years ago. So if you're currently gritting your teeth through punishing classes or marathon sessions on a treadmill, give yourself permission to step off that track. Embrace short daily movements, gentle stretching or yoga, carefully scaled strength training, and a devotion to real rest. By doing so, you may liberate yourself from the cycle of soreness and fatigue, stepping into a more balanced relationship with your body. That's how you remain vibrant and independent, letting the best aspects of later life shine through. You haven't stopped caring about health, You've just discovered a more nuanced, body-honoring approach that can carry you forward with greater joy and fewer setbacks.